Hello and welcome to Eye of Azure. Today I am sharing one of my favorite tarot books for beginners. So this wasn't the first resource I had when I first started learning tarot. It came still at the beginning of my journey, but it wasn't the first place I started learning the cards, but it was certainly one of the most helpful. And for that reason, to this day, I still highly recommend this book. Anytime anyone asks me, do you have a resource you recommend for someone who wants to learn the tarot and doesn't really know anything? So I always recommend investing in a really helpful, informative book. This book in particular for beginners is my highest recommendation. I still reference this book all the time just because I think it's so helpful. And the information is presented in such a digestible way that I think is really helpful for people when they're first learning the tarot. And it just makes things simpler. So let me just kind of dive in here for a minute and show you what I'm talking about. So really quick, this book is by Liz Dean. You can find this on Amazon. I will link it below. That's where I got it. I think it was $19 or $20 when I bought it. I really think it's worth it. It's full color. It's a beautiful book. So you have this introduction to the tarot, how to work with this book, how reading tarot can benefit you, a note on the Rider-Waite Tarot. So this goes just very, very, very briefly into some history, and some basic breakdown here on like the suits, the court cards, the elements that the suits correspond to, all of that. How to begin, here it talks about how to cleanse your deck, attuning to a new deck, protecting your cards when you're not using them. So great stuff, creating space for your readings. All of this is really helpful. Here you have choosing cards for reading, how to shuffle, just like basic information that I think everyone should have if they're just getting started reading tarot. Then it has some stuff about reversals and maybe things you can avoid at the start when you're first starting to learn. Everyone has their own opinion about reversals. I personally don't read in reversals. That's a personal opinion, belief, choice, all those things, however you want to say it. With that being said, I do not knock or judge anyone who does read in reversals. Everyone has their own way of reading. I don't think any two tarot readers read the same way, in all honesty. So here you have some card layouts. So it just gives you a couple different spreads to get started. So just like a quick reference for card interpretations. And then this is where you get into this is the most valuable part of the book. All of that's nice to have. This is what it's about. And I love this format. First of all, it's a beautiful book. Like I said, I love that it's full color. You have this relatively large image of the card. This is going to be Rider-Waite Smith system. I think these are photos from the Radiant Rider-Waite or Radiant Waite. I forget what it's called at this moment. But they're very traditional cards. It's just the colors are a little brighter in this deck, if I remember correctly. But you have some basic information here that's going to be super helpful. So you've got alternative names, number, numerology, link, astrological sign or planet, element, Hebrew letter, symbol, meaning, tree of life, pathway, chakra, and key meanings. Then you have this section called Understanding the Fool's astrology, the Fool in Kabbalah, upright meaning, home, relationships, career, money, and reversed meaning. So not all of this will apply to everyone. For example, I haven't really dived into the Kabbalah much at this point in my life, but that information's here for someone who's interested in that, or who has already studied that and wants to have a better grasp on how the tarot corresponds to the Kabbalah. Same with astrology, those sorts of things. I do use astrology a little bit in my readings, so I do find that to be helpful. You also have, though, this is already a lot of information for starting out. This is great. What you also have with the Major Arcana is this whole other page where you have the wisdom message of the card, the Fool's symbols. This I love. I love this section right here. It has some of the symbolism from the card broken down for you so you understand it. So for this card, for the Fool, it has the dog, the white rose or butterfly, because it's some cards it's a rose and some it's a butterfly, the bundle over their shoulder, the white sun and the red feather. And so it explains what those symbols mean. And it also, for some of the cards, tells you where else in the tarot deck you can find those symbols. So it gets you kind of thinking about how certain cards are related or where there's certain themes coming up. I love this. I highly, just this aspect of this for a beginner book alone, I think it really helps you think a little deeper about the cards, because what I always tell people is there's not a single thing in a tarot card that doesn't have a reason why it's there. So I think this really gets you thinking from that scope. Then you also have the historical Fool, Idiot, and Joker. So then you have this little informational box here about something about the history of the card. For each card it's different. The Fool's reflections, try a reading with the Fool. So the whole major arcana is laid out that way. Let me just show you what the minor arcana breakdown looks like. So same thing, have a nice big picture of the card. Here you have the element, astrological associations, the number, tree of life position, and the key meanings. So with the minors, you'll see there's less information for the cards, but it's still helpful, valuable, good information. So rather than being 2 pages or technically 4 pages, I guess, if you're counting like that, rather than being 4 pages of information, you're getting 2 pages of information with these. So you have the understanding, the Ace of Cups, upright meaning and reverse meaning. Yeah, I don't know that there's anything else I have to say other than that. I truly do recommend this book. I think it's really helpful, and I recommend it honestly for even people who have been reading the tarot for a really long time. It's just a nice, quick, easy reference book. The other thing I will say is this understanding area for each card. It's kind of basically just breaking down the imagery and what you're seeing in the card, what that represents, and why it's there. You know, everything in a tarot card is there for a reason. So it's, especially when you're learning, it's great to really just sit with the card and look at it and think about, what does this mean? Why are these symbols here? You know, what is, even the colors, you know? And I can't remember if it's in this book or a different one. Yep, right here. This is why I love this book. It says right here, he sports green, the color of nature and fertility, and wears a thin headband like card 1, the Magician. So I love that because it makes you start thinking about, just like with the majors, how you have those symbols and it tells you where you can find those same symbols in other parts of the deck. It gets you thinking about where these cards are connecting. So for me, I always see this card as like, this is the Magician here. He's just got his back turned to us, but if you look at him and you look at the Magician, he's got that red cloak too. To me, I always feel like they are the same person. I don't know, that's my side rant. I really can't say enough good things about this book. It's just a great option. It's really a good investment for your tarot journey. So I hope you found this review of this book and kind of the flip through to be helpful. Let me know if you have any questions, and I hope you all have a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and take care. Bye.